really a world in which you have to imagine, before you get there, what it is that you want to be, and then find those places where you can perform. Even if you're performing to a kind of fantasy in your head of the person that you want to become, you have to start to dress the part, you have to participate in that world by finding the networks and joining them, even before you get the job. So you have to kind of make a kind of script in your head and play it out. It isn't going to be that you can apply for a job and because of 5 qualities that you have, you get it and then you can become that thing. You have to become it in order to get the job in the first place. So you have to have a set of people who you are before you walk in for the interview or before you have that phone call. And that requires a real major shift from where you are as students in a classroom. It's also about crafting your self-presentation, not to represent what that job wants, because you don't want to wake up in the morning and go to a masquerade party that involves putting on the very thing that you don't feel comfortable in. You want to show up and be the best version of you and have them want that best version of you. So it's a little bit like a speed dating to go on job interviews where you want to find that match, and so you want to maximize your contact with places that might welcome the best version of
you. I went for it and I got it, and again, it was a wish list. It was kind of the highest, you know, the top end of, you know, what they would ideally like to see, but, you know, like all that is about, you know, the energy you bring and the ideas that you have, and you know, so much of it is whether you as a person fits the organizational, you know, model that they're looking for. Like, will you be an asset to the team almost more than anything else? And so always take that with a grain of salt, the descriptions, both in terms of, you know, the exact type of, you know, skills that we're requiring, but also even as it comes down to like the numbers. Like, you know, if you have 3 years experience and they're looking for 5, go for it. That does not matter at all. So don't let that ever be kind of a stopping point or intimidation. So whatever you want to do, stay connected to what's happening in that world. And so whether that is regularly reading a blog or news articles or visiting you know, a website of an organization that you ultimately want to work for someday, like your ideal organization. Like I always have, you know, I have this fantasy of working for Lincoln Center someday, so I always check and see, well, what's available there. And maybe I'm not looking for a job, but if something pops up and that's the place that I've always dreamt of working, then I'm going to go for that. So, so I think it's kind of self-narrowing your own search.
So I'm here to tell you that networking internships are a great way to get into whatever industry you're trying to get into. And you know, sometimes when I say internships, people think, oh, okay, working for free, sure, oh yeah, right. Well, I mean, sometimes it is working for free. I mean, it's very rare that you'll find a paid internship. I was fortunate enough to. But yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of sacrifice. A lot of people, you know, when I mention TV and panels like this that I've done in the past, you know, I see stars in their eyes. Oh, I want to be on TV. They want to be, I don't know, reporters, anchors. They want to be interviewing celebrities and stuff like that. I think if you approach it from that side, you know, if you think, oh, I want to go into broadcasting because I want to be famous, I think that's the wrong approach. You know, and I think having that mentality and starting off with that mentality is not going to get you very far. You have to be very intelligent when it comes to that company. You have to, you know, really do your research, and which, you know, translates right into the resume. You know, don't just write the same resume and change a few words for different companies. Say if it's the same kind of job, but really, like, from the ground up, build that resume for that company. And if you can find out anything about who's going to be reading that resume, or, you know, I don't know, from where they went to school to like what their emphasis was to the things that they really care about, I mean, that's just more ammo for you.
But I kept having this overwhelming feeling that I didn't feel good at the end of the day about the products that I was selling. Not that the products were bad in any way, they were great. but I didn't really feel like I was doing, you know, what I could be doing to benefit the community. And so fortunately, and I, you know, say this kind of jokingly, but fortunately I got laid off from my job at a medical technology company. The company closed down. Everybody got laid off, and so it was kind of neat. I mean, that's a frightening experience, certainly, but it wasn't that bad. And it really gave me a chance to kind of, you know, look at what I was doing and figure out what I was passionate about and what I wanted to do, and sort of go after those jobs instead. And it was difficult because the jobs that I was applying for, you know, in the nonprofit world were, you know, half the salary of what I was making at a medical technology company. And so that part was a little bit tough for me, but I really knew that I wanted to do this. So I would encourage everybody to at least, you know, keep that in mind, that there's other things out there, you know, besides going into PR or TV or, you know, corporate marketing jobs or corporate communications jobs. So I really think that you have to, you know, if you are ever considering a career in a nonprofit, you really have to truly want to be there.
%56% of people that find a job are usually using somebody within their network to get to that job. But it's not necessarily a close friend. It's oftentimes somebody that's 2 or 3 times removed. It's an interesting kind of a reality, but the fact is, I know you're not always going to know someone in every company you interview with, but it really does make a huge difference. If I see a name, so and so referred me. Oh, okay, I'm gonna look at this resume. This is not a kind of a blind mailing. Somebody actually took the time to make the connection. So it really is about your presentation. There are folks that have come to us that didn't really have much of a resume put together, and that's why I say, you know what, you've had some classes perhaps where there was a really killer project you worked on that required you to, you know, do some research and you know, manage a team of 5. Put that on your resume. Anyway, so at the end of the day, it's about your drive. Do you have your proverbial act together? You know what? Bring us some samples of some of the work you've done. Just initiative, really. I think that's the most important thing, and your energy and desire to learn. There's been folks that have come that have had all sorts of jobs, but they had no fire, no you know, that energy I'm talking about. So I think at the end of the day, don't be worried about, you know, does my major reflect my ultimate goal. It's really about, you know, your drive and your ability to, you know, I think engage